if he has to kill her, he's going to do that too. And that's just the way it is. There were multiple times when John was like, he got lost about where he was in the scene because Joel was making him laugh.
Also, I want to comment, like, you got jacked. Like, you're in incredible shape this season.
I wanted to make sure it looked like she was large enough to beat up a lot of large men. I don't think my pant legs would fit over his arm. I can't really kill Superman, right? He's Superman.
Very big moment if you kill Superman. It changes a lot of things.
That would be death maybe to the DC universe.
Welcome back to the Morning After Pod. BD here. And thank you, everybody, by the way, for listening to episodes 1 through 4. We posted a graphic this week to say 7.5 million views across social, downloads, video, everything. So thank you for that. And this is episode 5. And episode 5 means I'm joined today by Jen Holland.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for hanging out and talking Peacemaker with me.
Always. Anytime.
We need to put the disclaimer out there that this is episode 5 of the Morning After Pod, Face Heroes Peacemaker podcast, which means everything in the DC universe up until episode 5, season 2 of Peacemaker is fair game.
That's right. There will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers. I just want to, how's life for you these days? You seem a little busy.
Life is great. I don't know. I'm happy. Life is good. We're just, enjoying the success of some projects and happy that people are liking the show. And yeah.
What's it like to see the response to Harcourt? Because I feel like everybody is loving the journey that you guys are sending her on right now.
It's just always great to see. I think the work that you've put in is resonating with people because you're not just making it for yourself. I don't think. I mean, it's entertainment. It's meant to be consumed by other people, and so you want other people to respond to it in a way that speaks to them in some way. So it's always really exciting. I love it when women particularly are like, oh man, I'm watching the show and I love Harcourt so much. I'm like, yes, this is so good. It's so good. I love that she speaks to women in some way, whether it's because they're like, oh, I feel that way, or I feel like I can be strong because of her or something. It's just cool.
Do you find yourself identifying with Harcourt in any of those ways? Like whether it's things you've experienced or things that you're taking from the character to your own life?
I mean, there's a lot of me in her, you know, it's like I'm not her, but there's a lot of me in her for sure. I think that's one of the ways that I approach every character is what way is this character similar to me and what way is this character different than me? And that way I can find a way of grounding her in something that's real for me. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of me in her, and I just love her. I identify with her in so many ways, and I feel a lot of empathy towards her as a character. So
yeah. Did you know when you took the role, like this would be the sort of depth that you get to do with this character?
No, I had no idea.
Because in Suicide Squad, like it was not nearly as deep. Like in Peacemaker, we're learning so much more about Harcourt.
No.
And like, how was it presented to you that this would be where it would go?
So no, it was never presented to me. So originally when James asked me to be in the Suicide Squad, the character was called Comms Tech 1 or Comms Tech 2 or something like that. She was really just a tool for James to get some beats of the story across. And the character kept growing because he needed to throw someone some, bit of exposition or something that he couldn't give to Agee's character or something. So the character got a little larger, and then at one point he was like, I think I'm going to call her Emilia Harcourt just because it'll be a fun Easter egg when people are watching the credits. And they're like, oh, that was Emilia Harcourt. Oh, that's crazy. Because no one ever calls me Emilia Harcourt in the Suicide Squad. No one ever says Harcourt or says the name. So it was kind of just an Easter egg for fans. And then the pandemic hits. James is deep in post-production on the Suicide Squad, and the studio's kind of like, did you want to do anything else? And James is thinking about that, and instead of pitching the show, he just decided to start writing Peacemaker. And he wrote basically an entire season of TV in record time. I don't even know what happened. And we ended up just going, I mean, he just one day is like, you're going to be a character in this Peacemaker show. And I'm like, cool, that's crazy. I didn't know how extensive the character was going to be involved and what was happening. I had no idea. And so it was just a total shock. And to get to dive in more depth in season 2 with the characters, just way more than I ever imagined I would get to do with this character. So
now you're a pretty core part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and rightfully so. You're killing it with the role.
Thank
I
you.
want to compliment you. Like, you got jacked. Like, you're in
did.
incredible shape this season.
Thank you.
Like, not that, like, did you do anything differently? I'm
did.
a wrestler. I love fitness. I love talking about this stuff. Had Grillo here last week. We talked a little bit about it. What did you do differently to prepare physically for Harcourt in season 2?
Well, I got a different trainer he's David Corn Sweat's trainer as Superman, and he also trains Maria Gabrielle de Faria, who plays the engineer in Superman, and he's a really, really incredible trainer. And I was very focused on wanting to make Harcourt, number one, seem like she doubled down after after almost dying in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I wanted to make sure it looked like she was large enough to beat up a lot of large men. I wanted it to be believable. It feels like, number 1, you don't have to suspend as much belief as an audience member. And number 2, I don't have to try as hard to look strong if I just am.
Yeah.
So it felt really necessary for this character.
I remember I know of this studio because my friend Chris Van Vliet uses it, and he has a trainer. I got with his buddy Josh Galagos from Dead Boys Fitness, and I got into the best shape of my life. And I would look at myself in the mirror, and I would just feel different. The way I'd move, the way I'd talk, like the confidence was different for me. Did being in that kind of shape, like it sounds like it did, but being in the best shape that you've maybe ever been in, physically looking so tough and strong, help you with the role in some of these moments?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah,
it's so helpful. You really truly like. And there's so many moments in the show that wouldn't exist had I not done that. Like these
in
moments,
this episode.
Yeah.
There's one in this episode.
It's just like there's moments when I'm like looking in the mirror, or I'm examining my wounds or things like that. And I watch it as an audience member after having filmed it, and I'm like, that's a badass. And not because of any other reason other than that I look ripped. It's crazy. It's so cool that is a part of the character because of the dedication I put into getting physically into shape to play the character. I thought it was really necessary. And I think you see, even more in, in episode 5, when I take down Peacemaker.
That's it.
I mean, when I take down Chris, it's like I gotta look like I'm strong. He is one of the biggest dudes you've ever seen.
John Cena's huge.
Yes.
Like, his arms are bigger than my head, and that's not an exaggeration.
No,
and you took him down.
crazy.
You gave him like a whole leg scissor thing and was that you?
I don't think my pant legs would fit over his arm. They're giant.
He's giant. That dude is like different. Like, people just don't look like that. Like, John is just huge.
Yeah, he's a giant man. He's a big guy, and so I don't do the actual the wire gag. That's my stunt double CC Ice who did that. So I do the rest of the fight when we're on the ground and I'm kicking his butt and I'm taking him down. But she does the actual like scissor kick thing, twist, wild move. She's a badass. She's so great. I'm so glad I got to have her also because she's also jacked. Like I told Lars Winther, who's our one of our producers, I was like, you gotta find a stunt double who's jacked because I am gonna look so fit, and I want to make sure that Harcourt always looks that fit, even when it's my stunt double. And Cece is that. She's amazing.
That's awesome. Well, the scene was great. So I find it crazy. We're talking so much about Emilia Harcourt. There's no Emilia Harcourt pop figure yet, maybe. But I did. Hold on, I want to get the cover on here for you so it's in good shape. I did go by the Funko shop, and I got. There is now a Jennifer Holland 1 of 1 with Emily Monster, for you. That is yours. I do this for each
Thank you.
guest.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So you're now, do you have one? Are you already a pop figure? Have you done that yet?
So I don't know if you know this, you may not, but we had Funko Pops on top of our wedding cake.
Oh, I did see that. Oh my God. Okay, but this one's in the box. It's
this one, I'm not wearing a wedding dress. This
That's
just
true.
looks more like me, and it also has Emily Monster, which is amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, I just like to make that a tradition.
Isn't it crazy though? I just have to say, like, the fact that Emilia Harcourt does not have her own Funko Pop.
What are we doing?
It's like, what's happening? Come on, Funko, get it together.
It's got to happen.
It's got to happen.
There needs to be like a new season 2 wave that has everybody.
That's right. Well,
We'll
look,
see.
I mean, they make products. They must feel like, I know they know that the male products just sell more than the female products. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense from a business side, but also I want the hardcore pop. Like let's get it.
I would like it.
Yeah.
I'll buy many units of them just if that makes you feel better, Funko. I will buy many units just by myself. I will spend all of my own money on Funko Pops.
The Peacemaker salary just into the Peacemaker
Yeah,
Pops. I love
that's right.
it. I love it. So you get to play 2 versions of Emilia Harcourt in this season. The alternate dimension version of Emilia is very different from the sort of main dimension version of Emilia from what we've seen so far. She dresses very conservatively. Peacemaker goes to battle with the Sons of Liberty, and she doesn't get her hands dirty. She watches, and I noticed that too.
She seems a little scared.
She seems a little apprehensive to get hands-on and physical. Yeah. Talk to me about how this you see or wanted to deliver the differences between the 2 Harcourts.
Well, I was very sensitive to a few things. I didn't want it to be comically different. Mm-hmm. I didn't want people to be laughing at the fact that she's different than Harcourt, because I think you have to really believe what's happening, and you need to believe in the love story that's happening between Christopher Smith from our dimension and Harcourt too. And so I didn't want it to be like, oh, we're making we're commenting on the differences between this version and that version. And also I was a little bit sensitive just for my own reasons about Chris seeming like he was only attracted to Harcourt because of the way she looked. Because if there weren't some similarities between them, if they seemed like just wildly different people, I was afraid it would seem like, oh, he's just attracted to the way Harcourt looks, I guess. That's the only reason why he's interested in Harcourt too. So I wanted them to seem like they were genetically the same person.
Yeah.
So whatever it is about us that is just chemically part of who we are and would be a part of us, whether we had this happen in our upbringing or that happen or this type of parent or that those things I wanted to seem the same. But then I wanted to seem like Harcourt from our dimension has a much deeper, more difficult set of trauma circumstances than Harcourt 2. And I wanted Harcourt 2 is a little bit thirsty. You can tell we call her Thirst Court.
I've seen that, yeah.
And someone else called her Soft Court, which I thought was a really good nickname for her. But I think that she's got some daddy issues or something like that. Like she feels a little too needy when it comes to men. But other than that, she knows how to communicate her feelings. Mm-hmm. She's easier to laugh, easier to smile. She's just a softer person.
It's probably an interesting experience too. In episode 3, Earth 2 Harcourt, Soft Court, Thirst Court, she is kind of giving in to Peacemaker and saying like, oh, I feel like you're different, I like you, let's give this a shot if in a couple of days you're interested. And then in episodes 4 and 5 is when Harcourt 1, real Harcourt, is like, no, you suck. Like I feel like there's a little bit of like I don't know if we're getting her true feelings there. I think that's maybe a little bit of a wall up, but it is, the message is, no, I don't like you. And they're 2 completely different experiences. Both happen on a bench in a park, too.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think Harcourt from our dimension, she does not know how to communicate her feelings. She's completely different from Harcourt, too, in that way. She just is, she's often communicating just crazy, wild things that she's just because she's throwing up a wall, and she doesn't know how to be intimate. She doesn't know how to be, vulnerable. And so she's like a dude in that way,
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
That's the phrase.
She really is. She's toxically masculine. She really, really is, So she's just got a lot of problems. She doesn't know how to communicate herself. She does not communicate herself very well.
Have you seen the theories about Earth X and how it's actually, the alternate dimension is actually a terrible place? Have you seen that pick up online?
About what? Say it again.
There's a lot of theories online about this alternate dimension that Chris keeps going to, that it's actually this sort of Earth X terrible world where maybe everybody's either racist or otherwise terrible over there. And I know you know what happens, but in a spoiler-free way, what do you think when you see things like that? What is your take on the
That's
most
really
popular
interesting.
theory right now?
Is Earth X something from the comics that I don't know about?
So Earth X in the comics is basically like where the Nazis won.
Oh, wow.
And it becomes like a really terrible universe over there. And there's a theory that this alternate dimension is a version of that. And Augie Smith is happy because there's just all white people in charge.
Oh, wow.
That's the prevailing
So that's
theory.
why people think that Augie Smith is like such a nice guy in this universe.
Yeah.
Wild. That's pretty cool. There's a look. 6 through 8, episodes 6 through 8, a lot happens. A lot is revealed. It has a lot of consequences for, the future of the DC universe. And so you only have to wait one more week and you're going to get a little bit more information. You know what I mean? And the next 3 episodes are pretty wild.
James is hyping them.
I'm excited about them.
He said it's his favorite thing he's ever done for 6 and 8.
6 and 8, I think he loves so many things about those 2 episodes, and they're maybe the 2 best episodes of Peacemaker, in my opinion. So I'm really excited for people to see them. And, like I heard Steve Agee say once that 6, 7, and 8 kind of feels like a whole new season of TV. And with the amount of stuff that happens, I would say that that's true. It's like a lot. We get a lot more information.
The end of episode 5 feels like it could have been a season finale. That's a season finale level cliffhanger, in my opinion. And it's Harcourt who says we're going to go get Chris back.
Yeah. In
the final moments. I feel like, that's kind of indicative of what she feels for Chris, maybe. Like, at least she feels something.
Yeah. Well, again, you're not going to have to wait too long to figure out exactly what's going on with Harcourt.
So now we don't want to give anything away. Let's go back to the beginning of Peacemaker. The very first episode of season 1 is when Peacemaker and Harcourt talk in the bar. And that's a very interesting scene now, looking back at it through the lens of knowing that Harcourt and Flag Jr. had their relationship, and she has this additional level of resentment for Peacemaker than we as an audience knew about. But you knew about that at the time.
That's right. Yeah, James always knew that this was the case. When he started writing season 1, he explained to me that this was the history, and I was like, wow, that's so crazy. I wonder if we're ever going to get to explore that. And of course, here in this season, we get to explore that. And so we knew the whole time, and it gave me the freedom to really have this sort of seething hatred towards our lead, the lead of the show, which was a little scary. I was like, I don't want it, I'm a series regular on this show. I don't want people to hate me every time completely. It's like, you can hate me a little bit. I don't want people to completely hate me, just think I'm terrible I've got to be a part of the 11th Street Kids, you know what I mean? So, but because of the sort of turn that happens for her character and the journey she goes on in season 1, where you can see her soften a little bit towards Peacemaker. She engraves the dove of peace on the weapon for him in episode 6 of last season. And you can see that she softens a little bit. She lets his charm get to her a little bit. And I think what's happened between what's happened on the boat. We don't know what happened on the boat. And, what's happened between the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 is, I think, without knowing the details of exactly what it is that's happened, what has happened for Harcourt is that she's let her guard down more than she's comfortable with this man who killed her only friend.
Yeah.
who she describes as her only friend. And I believe that's probably possibly true. Like the only person that you can see in the flashbacks that maybe she was vulnerable with this with Rick Flag Jr. And so, she closed off a huge part of herself, I think, when Rick Flag Jr. died. And she just, you see an episode, whatever episode it is, beginning of episode 5. Is that when that happens? When she vows to make sure that whoever did this would pay?
I mean, yeah, episode 5 comes out swinging to the funeral.
Yeah.
With Senior. I feel like Senior's just trying to manipulate Harcourt right away. I feel like he might care about her, but I also don't know if I trust this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust this guy, but Senior immediately is trying to get information from Harcourt about his son's death. And we now, we know the whole relationship. We know this whole where the resentment towards Peacemaker came from. And I feel like toxic masculinity is a term usually applied to men, as said by Harcourt. But to me, it's something that represents like an insecurity or a trauma unhandled that projects in a way that you don't want to carry yourself. It's toxic. Yeah. So I would love to just hear about how you kind of found your ways into applying that to Harcourt, because it's kind of a heartbreaking thing that if somebody is doing that, it's sort of out of acting out by something they haven't healed.
Yeah. Well, the way that I see her getting herself into fights is that she's numb. She's having difficulty feeling anything. She's unable to be open and vulnerable. And she's also 100% lost her purpose because she's lost her job. And her identity was completely tied to her job. Like, she doesn't know who she is without that job. And so she's just feeling lost and naked, metaphorically speaking. And she doesn't know who she is. And the way that she's dealing with that is by being a cutter, is kind of how I describe it or feel about it. It's some way for her to find control in her life. And to feel something. She's feeling numb, so it's a way that she can feel something. And so that's why she does it, Yeah. And she puts herself in situations where she can be completely overcome by people, or she's not going to be strong enough to deal with 5 dudes necessarily. And
that
so
sort of is the cutting. Like, it's like them beating her up is like the unhealthy way of trying to feel the pain, I guess.
Yeah, and you see her at the end of that first episode fight scene in the bar. After she gets thrown out of the bar, you see this little smile as she's looking up, and you is like, oh man, this girl is fucked up. She's messed up,
I want somebody to give Harcourt a hug and her to actually like accept the hug too, because that's 2 different things. Yeah. It's one thing to have somebody love you; it's another thing to accept it.
Yeah. That's her problem, is that you could just imagine that if someone hugged her, she'd be like, oh okay, all right. Why are we doing this? This is weird. Stop.
Well, on a much lighter note, there's a lot of fun stuff and fun moments in this show, too. For one, Harcourt 2 is in a scene with John Cena and Joel Kinnaman that I was laughing throughout. It's a serious moment for Chris.
Yeah.
It's Joel answering 2 phones and hiding and popping out. How funny are those 2 on set? What's it like to do a scene where it's the 3 of you kind of doing both dialogue but also big physical comedy and moments that are important to the scene?
It was so cool. I mean, Greg Mottola, who directed that episode 3, was just a joy to work with. He's a very funny guy. He's got such good instincts when it comes to comedy, but also keeping it grounded and staying in the tone of the show. And so he was so wonderful to work with. And Joel, I mean, come on. The guy doesn't get to do comedy in his career. So, we didn't know how much he was going to just dive in. And he just 100% takes this and runs away with it. I think he did such an incredible job with that version of his character. And he's so funny
when he knocks over the trash can.
It's so funny. He sits down and he's like, big problem. What'd I tell you about put the trash cans around the corner like that? Big problem. Big problem. Oh man, he's so funny in that role. And he actually, I think that it's a special talent if you can be the person to get John Cena to crack. on set.
They got John to laugh.
Yes. There were multiple times when John was like, he got lost about where he was in the scene, or he was trying to hide his laughter because Joel was making him laugh. And that doesn't happen. He's very professional. He loves to get other people. John loves to get other people. Like,
That's
he
WWE right there, too.
Yeah. He's like, haha, I win if I get you to laugh. If I get you to break, yeah, I'm doing my job. Oh, all the time.
The elevator scene where he talks about what do you call it?
That's really me just laughing because he's just improvising. So we're just improvising that little piece, and it's just really me. That's just Jen laughing.
I feel like when people think about John as the greatest WWE superstar of all time, the first thing you think of is him as a wrestler, like an in-ring performer.
Yeah.
But he's the greatest of all time on the microphone. I'd argue only him and The Rock can really go toe-to-toe. And John is he's a cut above everybody when he talks on a microphone. And a lot of that is improv. A lot of that is being present and listening to what the other guy says. And he'll get people to break in a WWE show. How much, is there any like moment of improv that stands out to you where John just threw something out where you were like, how do you come up with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely in season 1. I mean, there was a lot in season 1. In season 1, there was this scene where he was talking about being an asshat. He's like, maybe I'm an ass. I come from a long line of asshats, and there was a whole long. I mean, we have some outtakes from that. I totally broke. I could not. I just started cracking up. I almost peed my pants a little bit. It was like, and you could just see the joy in his face. He was just, he started laughing at how much he was making me break in that scene. And then the other scene in season 1 where he's doing the naming, when he's telling Economos, there's a million other people you could have put whatever on he frames, you could have framed a million other people other than my dad. You could have named anybody else, and he's
just
going off
naming people.
Naming. And that's just him and James, the two of them just throwing out names, just going and going and going. It was amazing. But there is never a lack of John improvising on set. He's always bringing something.
Him and James in a room together, it's dangerous. That's dangerous. I feel like maybe there's an interesting rivalry starting between Emilia Harcourt and Sasha Bordeaux, and it is teased in episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
I love Soul. I think she's a sweetheart, and she's so talented.
So sweet, right? I mean, how is this person playing Sasha Bordeaux? She's the sweetest person. She couldn't be more different from. Yeah.
She just walks in, lights up a room, is just so like, I'm happy to be here. And then Sasha is like, I don't take shit.
Yeah.
And a cyborg too, by the way. Now we know in episode 5.
That's right.
What is Emilia Harcourt's perspective of Sasha at this point?
I think, Emilia's a little bit like, who do you think you are?
Hell
This seat is taken. Okay. I think that's kind of what Harcourt's vibe is. And she doesn't trust people, Emilia. She doesn't trust people. She doesn't trust Sasha. She doesn't, it takes a lot to get her to trust anybody. And so she's very wary of her. She also she thinks that this person is a little bit too by the book or something like that. So she thinks, okay, this person was about to take Peacemaker out, just a minute ago, right? While we were, in the park. And she sees that she doesn't maybe have the, what's the word? Like whatever empathy chip you have to have that would make you be Rick Flag Jr. in the scene between Rick Flag Jr. and Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad, where Rick Flag Jr. is like, yeah, I get this is our mission, but like I'm a human being, and like I can see through what's good and what's bad here. And then Peacemaker was the guy who was like, I've got orders. We follow the orders. And so I think that if that's the way that Harcourt is classifying human beings, like, do you follow orders blindly, or do you have some understanding of what's good and what's not. I think she probably puts Sasha Bordeaux in the category of the person who would have killed Rick Flag Jr. in that.
Interesting. And
instance.
Senior called out that Harcourt, like him in Creature Commandos, Harcourt and Junior in Suicide Squad, are willing to disobey orders if it really goes against what they believe.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that Harcourt has that. Well, I don't even know what you'd call that. Just morals, I guess, because a lot of these
her
characters.
moral compass is very specific.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a really wide moral compass. It's just very, very specific. And that's that you don't betray your own teammates. She believes that your loyalty is to your team.
Yeah. It's got to be so
First
fun
and
for you to play a
foremost.
character that just gets like richer and richer every time we see her. And I
It's so
imagine
much
every
fun.
time you get a script, you're like, oh, cool, this is cool. And
It's so much fun. And James loves these characters so much that, you know, whatever he's going to do is going to be, interesting and fun to play. And yeah, I mean, I just love, I could play this character and be on this show for the rest of my life if they let me.
hell yeah.
I would. Don't know if that's going to be the case, but
Does James sort of give you the roadmap of everything? Do you know the whole ins and outs, or does he keep it a secret? Do you try to avoid it?
I know some things.
Sure.
Yeah. I know some
I
stuff.
know a few things.
Yeah.
I can't. How could you possibly avoid it? I
I
guess.
know a lot.
But it's probably pretty cool though to have a front row seat and be like, oh wow, this is what we're doing. And then do you ever then go, how does Harcourt fit in? What are we gonna do with?
I mean, I
and start
don't.
fantasizing a
No,
little bit?
I mean, I think that the thing is that James loves Harcourt. He loves my, portrayal of Harcourt.
Mm-hmm.
And if he has an opportunity to include her in anything, he's going to do that. If he has to kill her, he's going to do that too. And that's just the way it is. Like, that's the way James's brain works. And I'm totally open to whatever it is that he feels that he needs to do for his story, because I know that first and foremost, the story is paramount to him. And I believe that as a creative, that's a really beautiful thing. He doesn't feel like, oh, I have to keep this person or that person alive. Not really. I mean, maybe Superman. Like he might be like, I can't really kill Superman, right? He's Superman, and that would be
It's a
maybe
very big moment if you kill Superman. It changes a lot of things.
That would be death maybe to the DC universe. So
could be.
I don't know, but you know what I mean? There's probably a few characters he feels like
Right.
he's, he might put them in pretty harrowing, terrible situations, but maybe he won't kill them. I don't know. But Harcourt's not one of those people.
Yeah.
I don't think Peacemakers or anyone on the cast of Peacemaker is one of those people. I think all of them are vulnerable to James's creativity.
I've seen all of James's work, man. Nobody's ever safe. Like
Yeah.
nobody. He convinced me that Star-Lord was going to die in Volume 3. I was like, Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Because of James's resume, I was like, they really just killed Chris Pratt's Star-Lord. And then
Yeah.
he came back, but I was like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Volume 3. But I was like, oh my God, they killed Star-Lord, because James is not afraid to off anyone if it serves the story. And
Yeah.
I've always appreciated that about him.
Yeah, and he really he doesn't like that you often don't feel the stakes of what's happening in these huge stories where people's lives are at risk, but you often don't feel like their lives are really at risk. And he wants people to feel like, yeah, maybe you'll hate me because I kill this character or that character, but also next time you watch something, you're going to really be scared that someone could die, because I'm not afraid to do that. And he wants people to go through that journey.
I love the journey that he's taken us on.
Yeah.
I read what you said this week about how like work-life balance is a tough thing right now because there's so much work going on.
Yeah.
I'm this like everyone in my life knows when I'm buried in work, and I can't imagine to the scale of what James is doing running a DC franchise. Like whether it's my mom, my friends, anybody, I'm like, all I want to talk about is work. All I can think about is work. But then I find a few things that I do outside of work to just really give myself that moment. What is like the one thing outside of DC that you're enjoying most in life right now?
Well, I love being in nature. I'm very active. I'm a really active person. So the things that I do for joy are often like going into the mountains and biking or hiking or paddleboarding or kayaking or something like that. And so that's what I search for. I just went paddleboarding on a lake in Georgia with Freddie and his wife Johanna.
Oh, nice.
The other day, actually. So that's what I like to do. I like to get outside, be in nature, reconnect with the important things in life,
Yeah.
and try to let the rest of it kind of fall away.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Tomorrow, for us, Wednesday, it'll be 2 weeks to the day that I was sitting right here with Frank Grillo when James announced Man of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone was on Do Not Disturb. So I didn't even see it while we were recording, but we talked about it. But there are projects like Supergirl, Clayface, Man of Tomorrow, there's Lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, does Harcourt have an appearance coming up in any of those? Can you say?
I can't say.
Okay.
I can't say.
These are the questions I have to ask, though. These are like the ones that, hey, why didn't you ask if she's in Supergirl? Why didn't you ask if she's going to Gotham?
Oh my gosh. I would be so joyously, exuberantly happy if I was able to cross over and be a part of any project. So,
I'm rooting for you because I want to see Harcourt on a healing journey. I want to see Happily Ever After. What does Happily Ever After look like for Harcourt at this point? Does that exist?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think that it's going to take a lot of unpacking if that's the case. Yeah. But we'll see what happens. It's like James doesn't totally take you on a depressing journey. There's always a bit of joy, a bit of light. So maybe we'll get to see something happy for her. We'll see.
And then sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's like, ha, I'm going full George R.R. Martin on you. Okay, this is our last interview before the episodes 6, 7, and 8, which everybody's talked about. You talked about it a little bit earlier. So I'll just do it in this. If you had to describe these next 3 episodes, I'll give you 3 words. How would you describe the ride we're about to go on as an audience watching
3 words.
The last 3 episodes of Peacemaker Season 2?
I can only say 3 words, so I'm going to say balls to wall because I can't say the. I have to remove the.
That was well played. You're a bit of a wordsmith. Something of a wordsmith. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, this was absolutely awesome. I'm a huge fan of Harcourt. I'm a huge fan. I think the work you're doing as Harcourt is amazing. Your acting work in Peacemaker and throughout the DC universe, but specifically, because I think you've been given such a great opportunity to show the rich sides of this character and unpack her and show us what she's dealing with, and you're doing such a good job of that.
Thank you.
And I'm really happy for you, and I'm really happy I got the time to talk to you about it.
Well, thank you for having me, Brandon. This was great. And I'm walking. I didn't bring you any gifts.
That's okay. I'm
walking
used
away
to
with
it.
a gift.
No, I just think these are so cool, and it's become a tradition on the show where, like, if somebody brought me a Funko of myself, I'd be like, that is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Well,
so
obviously, we've got to bring you a couple Funkos. You're due a couple of Funkos at this point.
But no, I think it's cool. I actually totally forgot about the wedding cake, and I had seen that.
Yeah,
I had seen that.
I think my Funko on the cake lost an arm too. She sadly didn't have an arm, but it made it a little funny.
Well, now you have it repaired.
Yeah, now I have
Emily
a new arm.
I tried to also think of the right pet to get because you guys have so many pets.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I went through your Instagram. I saw a lot of Emily Monster. It's like, okay, Emily Monster's the safe pick.
She's also the one that would be the most upset if she wasn't there. So.
Oh yeah, well hey, that's why we call her Monster, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming to hang out, everybody. Thanks for watching. Next week, the plan is James Gunn. We're figuring out the time and place to record that, but as of right now, all signs point to James Gunn will be joining us on the Morning After Pod, Face Heroes Peacemaker podcast. Thank you so much for watching, Jennifer Holland and I. And thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, guys. See you next week.